Hello, Dr. Renee here, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm super excited to bring you part one of a two-part interview I did with my friend Lies Hersloot. Now, in my private holistic health group called Happy Healthy Holistic with Dr. Renee, I was actually getting a ton of questions on hair, mostly hair loss. And who better to answer the questions than the specialist in hair herself? Lies actually authored a book called The Complete Guide to Healthy Hair, a 3-step program to heal your hair. And we do in this interview talk on things such as dry hair, oily hair, and hair loss. And in this particular part one, we also touch on aging skin. So the rest of Lisa's bio is in the comments, but if you're ready, let's just get started. All right, I am so excited that you are with me today. Here we go. Ready? Lies Hersloot. Yes. You say it your way. Yes. So excited to have you with me. Lies, through a lifelong passion for cooking and healthy living, you bring years of experience and passion to your life. Currently living in Belgium, Lies helps women through her Facebook community, blog, and Instagram to get moving and grow healthy hair, strong nails, and beautiful wrinkle-free skin in all stages of life. You literally wrote the book on healthy hair, which is why you're here today with me. I am so excited to have you, as is my community, which gave us a ton of questions. And I think we're going to go through the questions, and then if anything rolls in as we're recording, that's pertaining to the questions, then we'll take them. Otherwise, we'll answer all other questions at the end. So, please, what does dry hair mean?
What does dry hair mean? Well, first of all, I would like to say thank you for inviting me here, and especially because you're a doctor, because I wrote my book because every doctor around was like, hair problems that doesn't have anything or not a lot to do with health problems. So I'm so happy to be here. And I've written down all the questions that you've sent me. There were a lot of them. So if we go into the dry hair question, well, that's something I'm suffering from as well. I have very light colored hair. So I also suffer from dry hair, but there's a lot of explanations for that. There might be many reasons why you have dry hair. So one of the things that could be causing dry hair are, well, I always go from the inside. I'm not the beauty person. I'm not a beauty specialist. I talk about hair, so it has to do with beauty, but it always comes from the inside. So it might be that you're lacking healthy protein. That was the case. That was in my story. That's the reason why I wrote my book, because I was cooking in my vegetarian restaurant, and at the end of lunchtime, when all my clients were fed the best food and also had all their nutrients and protein, usually the protein thing was already gone. So I never ate the protein anymore. So protein can be one of the reasons why your hair gets brittle and dry. Also, it might be that you're lacking essential fatty acids. So people who are going on a diet lacking fats, and please, everybody, eat fatty things. It's so good for you if you eat the right fat. So I think what did they say, Renee or Dr. Wallenstein?
Dr. Renee is great, yeah.
Dr. Renee, okay. Probably also stresses the fact that you have to eat fats and fatty acids, like especially omega-3. And those can also be reasons why your hair gets brittle. And then we are all women here, so hormonal changes do a lot for our hair. So there are periods in our lives when our hair turns very brittle and dry. That can be after pregnancy, but also when you're in perimenopause and menopause, your hair can become suddenly very dry and lacking luster and shine. So those are all things related to dry hair.
Great. So, then the next question is, so what do you suggest? So obviously getting adequate protein, making sure you're getting adequate healthy fats, and the hormonal issue can be a little tricky, can it?
Yeah, hormonal issues are very tricky because you cannot just pinpoint when you see a person with dry hair, like you have this hormonal problem. So every hormonal thing is about balance, and I'm not a doctor, so I cannot advise on what hormones are imbalanced. So I suggest that if you really suffer from things and you see that you also, for example, have acne, you suddenly have pimples you didn't have before, and you see a change in skin, and you're already adding protein, taking vitamins, essential fatty acids, and you still see your hair stays brittle, it might also be your shampoo. That's also possible. But if you see that things are changing in your body, I would suggest you get them checked and see whether there's an imbalance for you, because it's a very personal thing about hormones.
Absolutely, very personalized. So let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum. So we talked about dry hair. Now someone's asking, well, what about oily hair? What does that mean and what can we do about it?
Well, actually, oily hair is a good thing, because on our heads, next to every hair follicle, so you have a hair follicle, which you can compare with when a flower grows, it grows from a bulb. Is that the same word in English? So it pops out, and actually the same is happening to your hair. So next to your hair follicles, you have sebaceous glands. So the sebaceous glands, they produce sebum, and sebum is actually the best natural conditioner that nature gives us to nurture our skin, to nourish our skin, the scalp, and also the hairs. Because once the hair is coming out, the sebum lubricates the hair and makes the hair actually very healthy. But of course, we don't all want the super greasy hair. And there's many reasons why you could have greasy hair. It might be, first of all, it might be hormones again. So hormones always kick in. So when we see, I have a daughter who is 14 and her hair gets greasy like in 1 or 2 days. That's just because they're going to puberty. It can also happen in other periods in our lives when we're suddenly going through hormonal changes, that your hair gets greasier. It might also be that you're using the wrong shampoos, or you're not washing properly. A lot of people, they don't wash their hair like you should. So they wash it way too quickly. So you have to really take care of the washing process, use a good shampoo for that, and also avoid silicons, because silicons can also give you the very greasy look, and it could be from silicons as well.
Which are in a lot of shampoos, is that correct? To give you that glossy look, is that?
Yeah.
Is that right?
And they do give that glossy look and that silky hair, but after a while it tends to build up. And I will be honest, in my book, which is now already 3 years old, I still mention some shampoos that have silicone, but I've totally turned away from silicons, because it doesn't only make your hair greasy, but it can also add to the dryness. So if you keep on using silicones, you're actually suffocating your scalp and the hair. So it doesn't even attract moisture anymore. It doesn't keep the moisture, and it also doesn't absorb oils anymore. So even your own sebum can't get into the hair strands, and extra natural oils you might add as a mask, they don't really penetrate your hair. So I do advise, if you can skip the silicones, it's always the best thing. It takes a while to adjust to that. I wouldn't go into the no poo thing, because that's like the biggest craze now, never to wash your hair. I'm not really fond of it. It's healthier not to wash too often, because if you wash too often, your hair will get even greasier, because it's logical. You're constantly washing your hair and your skin is like, it's getting dry. We have to add sebum. We have to add sebum. Same with your skin. If you overwash with harsh chemicals and harsh drying soaps, your skin will tend to break out easily, and your skin will even get greasier. So same with your hair.
It's interesting you say that too, because a lot of people, because they have dry hair, will get the shampoos with a silicone in it. And same with oily skin. Well, let me get something doesn't have any oils, very drying, and then your skin reacts the same way. It just produces more. And it's interesting also, I recently went to buy a shampoo and without the silicone, and they put this big disclaimer in, which I think scares a lot of people when you're buying this made for you shampoo. And it says, well, if you don't get them, we can't promise that your hair is going to be silky smooth. And so of course the consumer is going to say, well, I want silky smooth hair, so add the silicone. So I'm glad you talked about that. Let's just see if there's any questions from coming in yet. No, okay. No questions so far relating on what we're talking about. All right, here's the big topic that most of the women in my group, a lot of women want to hear about, what we talked a little bit about last week, hair loss. Hair loss. What does that mean? And what would you suggest? And we also have like a thinning hair component to that as well. And when we talked last week, we talked about all the potential reasons, including obviously stress, but I know you have definitely some really great information on this topic. So go for it.
Okay. Well, hair loss is a big thing, and a lot of women don't even talk about it because hair loss is like something you're ashamed about, because your hair is the crown on your head, and it's a part of your personality and of your looks. I wrote my book because I suffered from hair loss after giving birth to my daughter, which is again partly a hormonal thing. I also had way too much stress. So stress really is a trump card in your health, but also your health reflects on your beauty, on your outside, on your outer shell, on your hair, on your skin. So hormones can cause hair loss. So if you're going through changes, like giving birth to a baby, that's normal. It's also a stressful event because you give birth to a baby. Your body goes through a lot of stress. You have the stress of the baby blues and also the physical process. So it's kind of logical that your body needs to repair from that. And that's perfectly normal. And it should take about a year and a half for your hair to restore. If that's not the case, if it takes longer, and that was my problem, then something's wrong. And then you need to check it out. So I already talked about food. Food is a major part in hair loss. We always tend to go for the outer solutions. We want a quick fix. It's a modern world. We want to have that special pill. We go to the pharmacist and we want that one magic pill to heal our hair. And I always say there's no one magic solution. So it's always a 3-step progress. And that's also what my book is about. So it's not only about taking care on the outside. That is important. That could be one of the reasons. But the most important thing is to get the right nutrients. And again, we talk about the same things: the protein, the essential fatty acids, omega-3, and also some nutrients like zinc, magnesium, calcium, and what did I forget now? I probably will, and iron. I'm sorry, I had to look for the extra. So those are very important nutrients, which could be one of the reasons you have hair loss. But also there's a lot of ladies who think they have hair loss, which in fact is not really hair loss, because you have to really look at the number of hair you are shedding every day. And it's actually normal that you shed hair, because hair goes through a natural cycle of growth. And there's also a sleeping phase where your hair is like just waiting to grow new hair. So that's perfectly normal. So when we're talking about hair loss, you have to, well, the normal thing is 50 to 100 hairs a day. If you shed more than that, if it's suddenly a lot overnight or in a couple of weeks, then something's wrong. Also during seasonal changes, like now in fall and also in spring, it's kind of normal that you shed a little bit more. But it also depends on the length of your hair. If I lose 50 hairs, I have long hair, and you as well, it looks like a lot, but it's normal. So, but you will see, if you know your body, that's why it's so important to get acquainted with your normal things in your body. Like also when you go to the toilet, I keep on stressing that also. When you go to the toilet, everything that comes out is important to check. So is it normal? Also with menstruation, is everything like it's supposed to be? Does it smell the same color? It's the same with the rest of our body and our hair.
Excellent. So good. And the only, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think postpartum, after having a baby, it does seem like a lot more, because there is a growth phase in your hair during pregnancy. Is that correct? Because of the hormones and all, everything's growing, everything is, you're very well nourished. And then the postpartum period hits, and then you get that phase called telogen effluvium, which is what I learned as an OBGYN, the hair loss phase postpartum. When the hormones drop, the hair comes out, and it just feels like so much more, because here you had beautiful nails, beautiful skin, beautiful thick hair, and all of a sudden you start losing it. So
absolutely. And that's exactly the case with the postpartum. So it's like you say, like during pregnancy, you look like super great. You look like your hair is fantastic. Your skin looks normally great if you take care of it. But then afterwards you start shedding it, because your body is getting into another phase. You're also breastfeeding. So if you're breastfeeding like I did, you lose a lot of nutrients as well. So it's important to take care of that as well.
So nutrition's really important
Yeah,
there.
nutrition. And then the other thing next to, apart from nutrition, I can't stress enough the impact of stress, because stress is a major trump card in our health, and also has a big effect on skin and hair and nails. So that's the thing you have to tackle. You have to find a solution for that. It's really important.
So you, and I think we already answered this. I'm going to skip down a little bit because this sort of ties into what you just said. After a stressful event, such as what's going on now with a global pandemic, surgery, pregnancy, how long does it take for hair to go back to normal? And you said, at least in regards to pregnancy, a year. Is that correct? Or
it depends. It can go really fast if you take care of yourself and if your body is healing again. But now I've even found out that people who've had COVID now, there's a couple of scientific studies on it, and I came across it like a month ago, that after having gone through the virus, you even start losing your hair, because first of all, it's the stress. We have the stress feeling, but also the virus tends to attack the normal growth phases in the hair. And that's where your hair starts to get dormant. So the hair follicles don't produce new hairs anymore. So that's something new. I still have to get into that more, but it's a major thing going on. And there's a couple of studies on it already.
So are they seeing it goes into a dormant phase, so it's not growing, are they losing it since it's in the dormant phase, or not necessarily?
That depends. When you start losing hair, it might just be that you're going through a phase of just a hair loss, but the follicle is still an active thing, because the follicle is the base of the growth. So if that follicle is still healthy and still able to produce hair, there's no problem. You can regrow the hair. There's even techniques for that, like PRP, the platelet replacements. I can't remember the full name, but where they use your own blood and your own blood they process your own blood, they re-inject it into the follicles, and they can help those follicles to regrow hair again. But if the follicles are dead, they will never grow hair anymore. So that's the worst case of hair loss.
Now you're in Europe. Are you doing these kind of things like PRP to the scalp for hair growth, or I don't even know if we're doing that here in the US.
I think it comes from the US because I work with a famous hair clinic here, and they are doing that technique not only they use it for wrinkles as well. They call it, it's the same as a vampire technique. So they use it on skin as well to get the extra collagen boost, but they can use it for hair regrowth when your hair follicles are still capable of growing a hair. And I've seen wonderful results with it. It's a natural method they use. So
yes, I'm glad you mentioned for the face, because I had no idea. And I keep thinking as I age, because I'm 47, like I don't want to do Botox. I don't want to do fillers. Like what can I naturally put in my face to make it not age as fast? And I'll be going for PRP.
Exercise your face. Yeah. No, you do exercises for your face. And you have to make sure your body produces collagen because not just taking collagen, but taking a good brand of silicium, of natural silicon, it's called in English, silicon, because that helps your body to produce its own collagen, which is also a thing you can do for your hair, your nails, and for your skin.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I know collagen is super important, and as we age, it declines, our collagen production declines. So is it silica? Silica?
Yes, it's I think it's silica in English. But the thing is that if you age, you have like when you're born, you have like a storage of silica in your body. But when you age, it goes down. So you don't get it from normal things, from food. You can get it from some herbs, but it's not easily absorbed. So you need to add the right form of silica to your body, because your body needs it to produce collagen. So it's something I came across 2 years ago, and it opened my eyes to a lot of things like skin sagging, wrinkles, collagen loss, and hair problems as well.
Now that would be something, have you ever heard of diatomaceous earth? That's silica, I believe. It's called diatomaceous earth. It's like this white chalky powder. It's silica that actually I used to use in my practice for lowering cholesterol, detoxing, all the good things. But I think it is all silica. So I'll have to look into that.
The best form of silica, if you have it, it's always a fluid. It's never a powder because they cannot absorb in the body. So there's a company in Belgium who makes that form of, I will send it to you for your audience. So maybe you can, I don't know if you can already get it, but it's a highly absorbable form of silica. It's wonderful. It works like magic.
And it's natural. It's all natural.
It's all natural. Yes.
See, this is why I trust European companies much more. I'm sorry to say, but I was just having this conversation that, you know, you do not allow a lot of the crap that we allow here in the US in our foods, in your, you know, in your supplements, medications, what have you, that we allow here. So
definitely there's crap here as well.
Oh, is there? Okay.
We have in the food also. So same as in the US.
Oh, okay. I guess I'm just looking at it through, what do you call it? The glasses where everything looks perfect in Europe versus what we have here. But yes, definitely send me that link. I'll put it in in the show notes on the podcast, and then I'll definitely put it in the group so the ladies can check it out. And if we can get it here, definitely. Because I know if we weren't talking about hair, we'd probably be talking about skin and aging skin. So I'm glad we touched on that subject. So that was great.
That is it for part 1. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did like it, hit that like button for me. If you enjoyed this video or any of my other videos on my channel and you want to continue to see more of my content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you do not miss any of my content that I put out in the future. And if you know someone who's dealing with dry hair, oily hair, hair loss, share this video with them because sharing is caring. And I would love to connect with you, so either leave a comment below and tell me how you like this video, or if you want me to address any other topics in holistic health, I would be happy to. Just let me know. And I'd love to connect with you on other social media platforms. I am Dr. Renee Wallenstein across the board. All right, so I look forward to seeing you next week, where I'll bring you part 2 of my interview with Lies Hersloot. We'll see you next week.